Hello everyone, welcome back. In this video I'm going to talk to you about guardianship and medication. So my staff and I, specifically my wife, started using guardianship for cases where there is substance use and mental illness about 10 years ago. And at the time, the idea that you could actually file a guardianship over something like this, and we're talking somewhere in the age of, somebody in the age of 25 to 45. This is not an elderly person, it was novel. I mean, no one was doing it. But, as I've said in other videos, my wife is the guru of guardianship. So if you meet a lawyer who knows about guardianship, probably my wife who taught him how to do it. I mean, she's just a brainiac when it comes to this stuff. And it's just because she's handled so many of these cases here in Florida and here in Massachusetts, and also because we specialize in helping people with substance use and mental illness. And every once in a while, I'll get a call from somebody who says, oh, I spoke to my estate planning lawyer, my probate lawyer. He does guardianship, she does guardianship, and they told me that you can't do this. Really? Well, let's, tell that to the couple hundred clients we filed for guardianship successfully for. And I'm not here to poo-poo anybody or cast aspersions, but with all due respects to my colleagues that handle guardianship for elderly people, it's completely different when you're dealing with a family who has a loved one who has a behavioral health issue. And I get calls all the time, oh, it can't be done. I'm here to tell you that it can be done. And one of the areas that it really, really is critical is when it comes to taking medication. So let me share a little story with you. I had a good friend of mine, and my wife and I were good friends with her and her husband. And unbeknownst to me, he had a mental health issue. I believe it was he had a bipolar disorder, which he took medication for every single day. And for whatever reason, he stopped taking his medications, and it completely changed him to the point where he shot his wife. Thank God he didn't kill her, but he took the gun to himself afterwards and killed himself. Now that's an extreme example, but the point I'm trying to make is that when somebody has been diagnosed with a mental health disorder and a doctor has prescribed a medication that keeps them stable, when they stop taking those medications, the results can be disastrous. So one of the reasons that we love to file for guardianship in that particular instance is so that we can get a court order to make sure they take their medication. And a bit like in a Baker facility, where if they need to, they go and stick a needle in you to medicate you. If we need to, we can get authority from the court to have somebody forcibly medicated. And I know that sounds perhaps even sounds draconian to you. The idea of us getting a court order to have your loved one forcibly medicated just doesn't fly with you. And if it doesn't, I understand that, I respect that. But we have to sometimes do what needs to be necessary to save somebody, to stabilize somebody who cannot do that for themselves. And in this particular instance, I mean, and this is a good friend of ours. Just devastating to hear this. And nobody knew that he was suffering, probably because he was, taking his medication. So whenever you met him, you had no reason to think, wow, there's something not right here. But she found out, and she found out the hard way, I'm sorry to say. Thank goodness she's recovering, and what an incredible person and brave person she is. But one of the things that we love about guardianship is because it has that kind of power. But again, it comes down to understanding how to deal with a behavioral health case. We're not dealing with elderly people here. And it's just a totally different ballgame. And so I want to share that with you. If you have a loved one who is suffering, who does not take their medication, perhaps they're stopped taking their medication, and now they're using, this legalized marijuana because they think it makes them stable. I think it makes them 10 times worse. I mean, paranoia and delusions, unable to function and be productive. So guardianship, it's a key tool in the battle that we fight. And I appreciate you tuning in. See you in the next video. Bye-bye.